All right, family, to the family tree. I want to thank you for all chiming in today. And this is where we bring all the information about holistic health. So if you got something going on, you know, bring it to the tree. We say the tree because the tree is where the family is, right?
Yes.
Your holistic health happens to be with your family, and that's your social security. What is your social security? As we say it slow. Say it slow. Social security. That's right. Family. You got so always understand that your real social security is always your family. That's why we bring it to the tree. If you got any questions, concerns, testimonies, things that you want to bring to the family, this is the time. This is it. We're going to address it. All right? We want to say there's no dumb questions. If your only dumb question is the one you did not ask.
There you go.
We're going to get started in a second here as we lower the sounds of music, the samba music. And we're going to get started. And before we do anything, I want to give a shout out to my co-host with the most. That is Bill 1L Morgan. Let's give him a hand.
That's in the house, guys. That's up. That's what's up.
All right, Big B. All right, Big B. How you doing there, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. Good day today. You know, nice sunshine here. Hot. But
it's hot outside. Yeah,
but that's all right. I was dodging humidity today, so I'm in good shape.
I have to get back in touch with Dr. Christini because they just sent over orders to say follow the protocol.
Wait, who's talking?
Yeah, that's Nathan.
Nathan, you talking to us? Nathan, you talking to us? Somebody else?
Nathan got it going on over there. Okay, we're gonna get it started. And Big B, tell us what's going on because you know what's happening in the world. This is a world going backwards, but we're going forward. Amen.
No, the world.
So I want to say that whatever's going on, you know, you can be rest assured that we're talking about the life. You know,
I know
life
that's right,
that
man.
you may have it more abundantly. So Big B, tell us what's going on in the world, man. Give us our numbers from our favorite website.
Yeah, man. And can I say this? The world is going backwards. Since I don't use them other words, you know.
Okay.
Okay, guys, here we go. These are our quick facts from our favorite site. That's encode2019.live. These are our quick facts as of 9 minutes ago. Total confirmed cases around the world, 214,649,831. You with me? And after that, our total critical cases, 112,943. All right. Now, total deceased, 4,474,700. All right. Total active cases, 24,111,262. Okay. Drum roll. Yeah, guys. Here we go. Our total recovered cases, guys. Total recovered cases, 190,290,135.
Wow, there you go, family. Did y'all get that? Y'all, we all need to be putting our hands together.
I know that's right.
You know, folks that are getting well, and when they're not telling this on the media and it's gloom and doom, you have to understand that there's a number that's not being promoted, and that number that's not being promoted is those that are getting well, those that are actually gone through, been diagnosed with COVID, and then all of a sudden now they're doing well.
There you go.
They've gotten through it. So we want to say that, you know, I always mention that there should be a post-evaluation. I am a product of researcher. I am a researcher, published researcher. And with that, we always do what's called pre and post evaluation. And from the pre and post evaluation, you start off with those that came in and then what happened at the end. I believe right now, this is the time we need to find out where are the people? What did they do, Big B? What's happening with the people, which is 190 million people around the world?
Right.
So that's where I believe we need to start to do that. But we're going to focus on always the positive and not the negative and the people that are getting through this thing. Because when you find out you've been hit with something as devastating as COVID-19, now you want to know, how do I get better? You know, you start reevaluating your life. A lot of life sustainability issues start to come across, and it can be depressing. Could send you in a state of depression. So we want to celebrate you here today. All right, Big B. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
As always.
Absolutely. And family, if you are joining us for the very first time, we want to start off, and we always start off with questions, and that's concerns that you may have that are going on in the world, news, media, marketing, anything about herbs, holistic health. We're going to try to address it today. If we don't know, we'll try to get the answer for you. Lower right-hand side, you'll see reaction at your lower bar. You can click on that and just raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll try to get to your questions. We can't get to everybody. I'm going to tell
wish we could.
We can't always get to everyone because sometimes the questions get a little involved, but we'll try to get to you as much as we can. And also, if you do not want to raise your hand, you can also drop something in the chat box that Big B will look for the chat box for any questions or concerns that you may have. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I want to get started. Big B, you have any in the chat room?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I have one.
I want to, before we start, one last thing. If you are calling in and you are dialing in and we cannot see you, but if you want to ask a question, please make us aware of it and we'll try to get your question answered also. Okay? All right.
Okay, I've got one here from Deborah. She says, Dr. Paul, my friend's daughter is 7 years old. She has a problem with allergies. These allergies cause her throat to close. She can't swallow and she drools. She has been sent home from school. Is there anything that can help her prophylactically? Thank you.
Yeah. How did she mention how old the child?
She's 7 years old. Yes.
7 years old. Yeah. You got to watch them. The first thing we do with children, because they have not been exposed to a lot of things, we hope that their systems are pretty clean. We try to make sure that you, number one, stay away from the refined sugar, refined salt, refined oils, and absolutely make sure they're hydrated. Those are the three things right there. If you can do that and watch the candy, watch the cakes, the all the goodies and things like that, because usually that's what throws them off. But then after that, we start to look at things that when you talk about allergies, you got to look at the body's trying to get rid of something. It's an overactive immune system, so it's trying to get rid of toxicity of some sort. So even as a child, that means her body's ridding something. So sometimes, whether it's the eyes watering, sneezing, coughing, anything of the skin outbreaks, things like that, that's all forms of detox and can be allergic reactions to certain types of food also. So we look at that list of foods and things, but also water. We got to put them back on a holistic diet. But it starts with the parents. As we talked about last week. Well, we talked about this on Sunday. How we talked about the parents. We have to start to deal with the parents and the food choices, because a lot of times the parents are making sure they're not getting those refined sugars, refined salts, refined oils. Got it? So they would need an assessment. First, number one. But allergies, there is one, not to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease, just food for the soul, that we give the children, and that starts with elderberry syrup. Okay, elderberry syrup. We start with things like elderberry syrup. And then black elderberry is one of the, it's antiviral, it's antibacterial, and also it has the principles of building the immune system. It's very good for sugar control. So it also helps to crave the sugar control that drives them to want to actually have the candy and things like that. It also is very good for COVID-19 protection, lungs. Got it? And the best of that is coming from Israel. So if you can get elderberry, black elderberry, sambucus, it's actually called. That's what it's called. You can buy that in elderberry syrup, and it is children's formula. That's one, and the other one is the old Indian wild cherry bark syrup, which is for children. Got it? Those are the two that I recommend.
So, Dr. Paul, would she take take those every day prophylactically?
She could take it every day. That is correct. Okay. Because usually it's also a malnutrition issue. But before anything, I would say she needs to be evaluated. She needs an assessment, because then we're just speaking in general right now. Most people, most children are malnutrition because of the food choices. Most people are malnutrition. So the children are going to be malnutrition. So we try to do an assessment first. I would recommend assessment first. Is that your question?
Okay.
Yes,
I
that was your
have one
question.
other question. I have one other question, please.
Sure.
What about prevention of macro degeneration of the eyes? Is there anything that a person can do?
Sure. We have a few things. Any of the, we say not to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent disease, just food for the soul. We talked about the herbs that are for the eyes. Number one, for that particular person, you got to make sure they're not dealing with high blood pressure issues. Are they dealing with high blood pressure issues?
No.
Okay, so what we need to do is go for the things that regenerate the eye. That would be any of the bilberry, bayberry, huckleberry, lutein, and gotu-kola. Those are the herbs that we use to actually help regenerate the eyes.
Okay.
There's also what's called Dr. Christopher's Eye Bright formula.
Yes.
So there is a formula that's put together. There's an herb called Eye Bright, which is specifically designed for regenerating the eye. But for macular degeneration, has a lot to do with food choices also. How old is that person, by the way?
66.
66, right? So macular degeneration. There is a great book called The Outback Protocol, which is an excellent book that I recommend. It's called The Outback Protocol. And that book actually goes into also the food choices that are good for those that are regenerating the eye. Okay, so that's a book that you can, matter of fact, we've talked about it several times on this platform. So that's what I would do to do that. But ultimately, everyone starts with an assessment because you have to get a base, or we say a baseline for everyone, and then you can move forward because people have different things that are pulling away from them. Usually people don't have enough energy in the body to keep you level like this. Usually everybody's down here because we're all malnutrition. We're all dehydrated. We're living in the Northern Hemisphere. Therefore, we don't have enough nutrients. That's like saying the power is always, there's never enough power for us to keep these things going on. So that's like if you're in a situation where the lights in your house keep going on and out. You can't do nothing if your lights keep going on in and out in your house, right? You're sitting there going, hey, man, the light's is out again. So now that's because your voltage is dropping. The energy, your body needs energy to regenerate. Got it? So that's why we start with the green drinks. I would recommend, Deborah, things like the green drinks for both the situation with the young lady and also for the macular degeneration. They need a full green drink, which is a multivitamin to start with. Okay? All right, Big B. Who else we have? Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you.
Okay, well, there's a couple of questions about yellow watermelon. Is it okay to eat?
Yellow watermelon.
Yes.
Okay, now there is a yellow watermelon. Contrary to and people's like, man, so yellow watermelon. Yes, there is a yellow watermelon. Remember, the key that you're always looking for anything that's fruit is always the seeds. You got it. That's it. It's always got the seeds. If it don't have seeds, it ain't fruit no more. That's it. If it has seeds, and specifically with watermelons, is black seeds, there is a variation of the yellow watermelon. Also, do y'all ever see the small round watermelon? Y'all see the small round one, right? Look like a little bowling ball.
Yes.
Wait, did you know that was the first hybrid right there? Because they said, the oblong one, it's kind of awkward for me to carry. It'd be nice if it was in a nice little ball. So they hybrided to actually make a small one like a ball. That was the first one that they hybrid, but they kept the seeds though. I can say that they kept the seeds. It wasn't until later on, after the years, as the late years, they got into modification. And you remember I told you, whenever they want to modify something and remove the seeds, they work this thing called the manganese.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When they alter the manganese, they actually de-seed it, so the seed does no longer reproduce, and then they can patent that. And guess what? Every one of the fruits that does not have seeds has a patent on it. Did y'all hear that? Every single one that does not have seeds
has a patent
on it. Yep, that's right. Because now they say, well, that doesn't exist in nature. So if anything does not exist in nature, technically I created that. I can patent that. Ain't that something?
Nah.
Man, you got to get mad. You might want to throw something at somebody.
If you try to mess with it, I can sue you. Okay.
All right.
Two quick ones now. Okay. Which is if forced testing on the job, can you require saliva testing? That's number one.
What was that now? Say that again.
If you're forced to be tested on the job, can you require saliva testing as opposed to the stick up the nose?
Yes, absolutely. There is several tests that you can do. The PCR test that you can test, there is one that is by saliva, where meaning that you may still have a religious exemption, which is what I do recommend y'all do take. If you're having a situation, you just say, I stand on strong religious conviction. You have the ability to say, I don't believe in breaking the skin. So with that being the case, I can always give you something, but I do not put something in my body. You got it? And that's just, your choice. That's your choice. That is considered your sanctuary, your temple. So as far as going in your inside of your mouth or up the nose, you can say, I will provide saliva for you. And that is another test. Matter of fact, there is a specific test. If you give me a second, I can tell you exactly what that is. If you give me a second here.
Okay. Why are you looking for that, Dr. Paul?
Sure.
Along with that, I know we spoke about the form for the religious exemption. I looked. I looked through the VAC, VAC, the lead vaclib.org. I could not find a specific one. Is there one around that we can get our hands on because folk are asking?
Yes, absolutely. There is specifically on the exemption page, and we did give the exemption page out, which is the non-GMO. Well, actually, it's the Vaccination Liberation website, and there is specifically a place on there where you can actually download an exemption. Now, the reason why they give you a basic one is because everyone has a specific situation based on whether their job, right?
Yeah.
So some people's situations may be school, some people may be work, some people may be, other things like they may work in a medical environment. Whatever the case is, the key is going back to religious exemption, okay, which means that you have the right to, we call, based on religious conviction, strong religious conviction. And there is a website I'm going to give you. I may have to pull that up again. But there is a page that actually shows you where that is. It's a specific testing. And if I can get the name of it real quick, I will do that if I can find it. Yeah, see if I can find it. Give me a second here.
Okay.
But yeah, they do have it, and yes, you can pull it right off of that page. But saliva testing will be. I'll try to get that before we leave today.
Okay. And if we run out of time, we'll try and get it afterwards. You make sure you get it to it because I know folks going to ask me for it. And I want to make sure I get it to them. Okay.
Absolutely. We'll get it to them.
Can I ask a question? So is it a form or is it a letter we're talking about?
It's really a letter that you got.
It's a letter, but I'm saying it's the letter that we're saying is a form that sort of lets you give you an idea of what you need to put in your letter. Gotcha. That's what it is.
It's a letter.
Got it?
Okay.
The form usually, this is the case. The situation is this. You will always declare your position. And I always tell folks to declare your position by you generating a document yourself. Once you present it, usually they will have a form for you to fill out, which is their version of what they verify you as religious exemption or whatever your situation is, whether it's medical or whatever. So that's why you have to have first declare your position. And I do recommend that you notarize that document because notarizing just means that you sign that document. Okay. So even if you're working in the medical, in the medical field, if you're a teacher, if you're someone that's being specifically pressured right now, you have the right to, declare your position. And you declare your position means you opt out. So you're saying, well, I'm opting out. And the reason is that I believe in, And these are the things. And usually there is a breakdown. And Big B, I'll send one over to you, like a
All right,
sample
I'd
form.
appreciate that. Surely, I'd appreciate that.
There's a sample form, but remember, you have to formulate it based on whatever your situation is. We use, for example, a religious exemption would be basically declaring a position, means showing that, these are the things that we believe in. We believe in the Bible. We believe in that breaking the skin. We believe that, that God has provided these things on the earth. So it's a breakdown of a lot of different things. You just take that section out, put it right in there in your letter, put it on your letterhead, and you forward it through, and you notarize.
Yes, great. Make sure I get that, because I know some folk have been asking me about that. Right
now, there have been also documents circulating also about the, additional things that you can add to that, which was the civil rights, and also the Nuremberg, which actually goes into some of the things that they say that they're not doing with the shots, and these specific ones, that is a breach of the Nuremberg, which is about 10 different things that they breached. So some of that is going around. Also, I'm going to tell you, stick with the religious exemption. If you are a person of, a man or woman of God, you believe that this is real, you believe that God has provided this for you, you want to keep your body healthy, and that you're doing things, because that's what people from the United Nations that are part of the indigenous factors dealt with. That's what we dealt with. That's why the Sanitary Act was established, was because of the people who are the indigenous people of the planet. I'm hearing a lot of back feedback. All right. So what you have to do is follow that. The whole concept was that if you break the skin, you increase the chances of infection. So that's why we say don't break the skin. But also, this is considered even though they have, I'm still getting a lot of feedback. Somebody's giving me
guys,
feedback.
Make sure you mute yourself.
Everybody
guys.
mute yourself, guys. Please. It's too important. It's too important not to hear this. Got it? It's too important. You have to make sure that you are, putting down exactly the way you represent yourself. And that's the whole point. If you put God first, that's the whole point. God said, put me first. You got me? And know that I am. Stand still and know that I am. There's plenty of scripture that tells you that you don't have to do this if you desire that because the Sanitary Act says that those that have been around the world have holy and sacred temple is your body. You got it? So that's why we do that. So exemptions will go to that website, vaclib.org. Okay, vaclib.org.
Regarding breaking the skin, if you have piercings, does that apply?
Not at all, because piercing is not putting anything in you. It's not inoculating you. It's not putting something in the body. You got it? Yeah. So even if you have piercings or something like that, or if you have had in the past, that doesn't mean that you can't still declare that now. That's your right. You got it? So somebody say, oh, well, what's making you stop doing this from before? Because I have the right to decide what I want for my body. It's as simple as that.
And you don't need a pastor's approval?
No. Why? No, you don't need anybody's approval. This is a personal request, and that's based on you. That's why this is your temple. That's like saying, you got to get a special consent for what you're eating. You don't have to do that, right?
Correct.
Yeah, you got it. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You don't have to get something to verify, that, from any pastor, preacher, anyone. This is your right. This is you as a human right. That's you on this planet, because ultimately when this goes in your body, there is no liability on those that are giving it to you. Y'all do know that, right? That if there is no liability, that you can actually sue the organizations that are giving you the shots. They are immune. which means in 1996, they actually said that you cannot sue any of the pharmaceutical industries for vaccine injuries. So if you're injured, then you're basically out of luck. That's it.
I've heard some things about assumption of liability forms, which is something additional that your company would sign, saying they would take liability. Is that possible? Is that minimal?
If they do, then you better make sure that thing is totally tight for the rest of your life.
Yes. Ironclad.
Ironclad. So that means that, yes, they presented it to doctors and people who have said that, they still want them to have the shot. Okay, if you want to do that, then you're going to be totally responsible. Sign this document that says that you will be responsible financially, physically, and morally for the rest of their life. And you will take care of them no matter what. And nobody have ever signed that document.
Okay.
You got it? So that's why I'm saying that nobody wants to be accountable, but everybody wants you to get hit with it. So that's why you have to, it's a personal choice. Some people will get it, and that's okay. Hey, that's your choice. Some people will say, I just don't feel comfortable about it, and that's okay too. We don't recommend it because we know that, your body corrects itself, and the greatest immune system is your immune system. Got it? That's your strongest inoculation is your body itself. But you got to feed it what it has. You got to prove to me that God said this thing don't work. Once it doesn't work, then you can actually move forward and say, yeah, God's failed me. But that's not working. Every time I see someone apply the principle, you eat right, you exercise, you do the proper things you do. Even the Lancet magazine and the JAMA and the New England Journal of Medicine and all the major medical journals said that this is less than a 1% death rate, but yet everybody's running. Yep. Keep that in mind, family.
Can your employer reject it? And what should you do if they reject your religious exemption letter?
Well, it's based on each individual employer. But if you have a religious exemption, they got to tell you why, because that's your choice. Usually, if there's a religious exemption, you can't really identify someone's situation. That's almost like a form of it's a form of discrimination to a point.
Yes.
Because that is your religious right to not poke you in this, to actually receive an injection. So really, you don't, they really can't say you can't authorize this. If they do, then you got something else going on there. You got it? That's why with the schools, and that's why with all the universities, they'll say yes, they're needing mandatory vaccinations, but exempt from medical and religious exemptions. You'll always see that as like a tagline.
The tag on the tail end.
It'll always be a tagline. Yep.
Dr. Paul, what about places to get the saliva testing? I'm having a hard time finding locations that you can get saliva testing if needed.
Well, that's what we were talking about. I'm going to try to find the one for you, okay? But usually you have to ask wherever is requiring it for you. You just have to ask for the saliva test where you're giving saliva to someone.
Yeah, but I can't find. I've been looking for locations. There's more locations that do it with the swab.
No, that's what I just said. Okay. I will have one for you. I'm gonna try to get one for you. Okay, but always check with that location also. Whoever's requiring it for you. Okay, if it's a school, if it's a job, you say, well, can we have the one for the saliva where I'll provide something for you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
One more question. Can your company make you pay for your testing, or should they cover it?
That's something I would not know that. Yeah. Usually they will. I've never seen anything that actually costs. That's usually something that they're providing for you. Because it's their security that they're trying to maintain. They're trying to consider, making sure that everybody is in check on their level of what they understand things to be. So that would be a question for them. Okay. All right, Big B, you got anything else?
Yeah, that quite a few. The difference between fever, sore throat, flu, colds, and COVID. What are the differences on those symptoms?
Okay, slow that down.
I am. Okay. What is the difference between these symptoms? Fever, sore throat, flu, colds, and COVID.
Nothing. They're all the same.
They're all the same.
They're all the same. That is all the body reacting to, trying to get well. That's what is happening. The fever is trying to, it's trying to raise the body's temperature to burn out the poison in the body. That's what that is. All the flu symptoms with the nauseous, sometimes throwing up, that's the purging. Headaches, also another thing of heating up, trying to burn this stuff out of you. So those are all signs, and that's why cold, flu, COVID, all those things are just symptoms of the body attempting to correct itself. That's that's exactly what it is. So it just shows you that you can have something that's actually causing your body to do the same thing, and it may have the symbols of a cold, but it really is the body trying to rid. So runny nose, coughing, sneezing, these are all purging. They're all purging. They're doing the same thing. It's trying to get rid of the mucus. And then when you have excess mucus, that stimulates the mucus in the body, because the mucus is what's called the transient system to removing waste out of the body. So if you have excess mucus in the body, that's a direct sign that you got toxicity going on. And the color of the mucus is even more important, because remember, the color of the mucus goes from white to yellow to green.
Green, yes.
Got it? So the white is first level. That means you've been exposed to something and it's trying to work it out. But if it gets stronger, it moves to yellow. That means that it pulls the water off, so now it gets thicker. So now, if it's thicker, it can bind to it and then pull it out of you. And if it's really bad, usually active live virus, usually the mucus is going to be probably like a greenish color. Right? So that's all mucus things. So yes, all the above, which she just mentioned or he mentioned, that's exactly the body trying to correct itself. That was you, Lydia. That was you who had that question. That was a good question.
Okay. Here we go now. Oscar wants to know if he's been using baking soda to rinse off his vegetables and fruit. Can it contribute to high blood pressure?
No, not really. Baking soda raises the alkalinity. Okay, so that's actually causing no signs of causing high blood pressure unless there's something else going on, unless the person is already too alkaline. But like I said, we're just speculating right now. That's usually the case. Usually, remember, baking soda has a pH somewhere in the neighborhood of about an 8.5. So basically, when you add that to water, it's going to spike the alkalinity, which means if you raise the alkalinity in the body, bacteria, virus, fungus, sepsis, parasites, cancer, things like COVID can't live in that environment. So why aren't we talking about pH with everything? You know what I mean? We should be talking about pH with everything, right? Because that's the life force of everything. If you keep that resonation and that frequency and vibration, nothing can live in that. Only good stuff can live in that. That's where balance, that's where health, all that, that's where your alkalinity, female principle lives. That's where regeneration starts, all in alkalinity. Got it? So, that's what you got to stay alkaline. So baking soda really wouldn't be a problem unless you were too alkaline. Some cases you can see folks with having a pH where it gets too high and it stays too high too long. They may have an issue with toxicity from heavy metals. Usually that's what we see. Just as an example, not saying it's this person's situation, but some people have toxicities from heavy metals. They may have been working in industry all their life. So they may have something that has like toxicity with alkalinity. But yes, you can be too high on the alkaline side. You can be too acid on one side. Very hard. It's kind of unusual to be on the alkaline side, though.
Hey, Doc, just asking while we on that, the bitters. I'm familiar with the wooden root tonic, but when I went to my stores, Wayne Avenue and also Pollock Herbs, neither of them had the wooden root tonic. So I have the black seed bitters. Do they both assist your body in the same way?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, and if you want to buy the wood root tonic, you got to go to the Jamaican store, man. That's where you got to go.
In the past, I would go to the health store. They went, and I would be able to get that pretty regularly.
What part of the city you in?
I'm in West Philly.
West Philly? Yeah, you got to go to the Jamaican stores, man. The Jamaican stores would always have that. They pull that in. They import that directly to the Wood Root Tonics. So I would definitely, check them first. But yes, if you're as an alternative, black seed bitters would be good. The tonic, black seed bitters, not the oils. Yeah, the tonic.
And finally, from the mind care. I was also trying to run down the combination of the Bacopa, the ashwagandha, and the glucola, but I can't find the combination. I can just find the Bacopa.
Yeah, but you know what? Are you talking about the Mind Care formula?
Correct.
Right. So you're trying to do your own variation of that? Is that what you're saying?
So I remember if not last week or previously.
Last week we talked about Mind Care.
I remember you shared that with us that there is that combination called the Mind Care. And so I was seeking to find a liquid or capsule form with all three of those in it.
Yeah, that's the one that you can find right at Wayne Avenue Health Food Store. You can buy it online also.
Right, but I checked Wayne Avenue and Pollock Herbs, and neither one. Only thing they had was the liquid Bacopa.
Okay, but the Mind Care itself, you can go right online. It's from a company called Himalayan.
Okay.
Himalayan, and you can buy it right on Amazon. You'll have it in 2 days.
All right.
Yep. That's the formula. The company is called Himalayan. Himalayan has a lot of good stuff. They have straight Bacopa, but this formula, which Oscar is talking about, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, is from Mind Care. Mind Care, ashwagandha, Bacopa, Goda-Cola. These are all to balance we call the grand triangle, which is the pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, dealing with pressure, anxiety, stress, depression, issues with just focus, concentration, memory, those things. That's a good formula. I do recommend that for if you're actually also going back as a student. If you're going back as a student and you're going back to school, that's what I recommend for the students, because it gives you the ability to focus. But also, ultimately, when you clean, it's the liver that you're cleaning. Once you clean the liver, you clean the brain. Always remember that, family. You clean the liver, you clean the brain, because the liver is connected directly to your brain. It's the only organ that connects directly to your brain. We call it laws of complementary pairs, which means that it's connected. So when you're going through something, your liver's going through something. That means when also you're stressing, your liver's stressing. That's why sometimes you'll even feel a little pain on that right side. Everybody touch your right side. Everybody right side. Touch your right side. Some of y'all the other side. The other right side.
The other right side.
You got it? That's where you would feel sometimes after you eat. You'd be like, oh, man, what was that? Felt like some gas or something. That's your liver. Dehydration happens from that. You start to feel it right in that liver. We can look in the liver and see things like trauma, drama, anything dealing with sibling rivalries, things that are going on in your life and that you probably even forgot about. But guess what? Your liver's holding on to that. So that's where it holds on to a lot of grief and anger. And that's why we say, some people got to really release a lot of that anger and grief. So that's what the herbs do. It can help you with that. So that's that formula called Mind Care.
Thank you.
All right.
I put a link in the chat for you to take a look at the Mind Care. Okay?
Good question, Oscar. Good question. That can help somebody. I believe that helps somebody today. All right, let's go to the lines here, Big B. I'm going to go to the top here, and I'm going to pull some folks down that have their hands up. And let's see, who do we have first? We have Helen first. Helen, how you doing?
Hi, how you doing, Dr. Paul? How Bill? How's
Hey, Helen, how are you? All right, all right.
Great. I found some new stuff too. These are potatoes, sweet potatoes, full green, which is a rice potato, which seemed pretty good. And I also got these. This is like almond flour tortilla wrap.
Excellent. Good stuff. Where did you get? Where do you shop, bro, to get this for the folks that are listening?
This is from Mom's Organic. And then this one here, I got this from Whole Food. And this also came from Whole Foods. This is Everyday China. It's got chickpeas, tomatoes, and onions. They got different kinds of
so like flavors. Quick stuff. Yeah, quick stuff. Quick. And then so what you would do is just boil that. You would just boil it already prepared and everything, herbs and anything.
Actually, you can put it like in your frying pan, or I guess you can put it in your
stir fry. Yeah, like a stir fry.
Yeah, stir fry. Yeah, just warm it up. It's already prepared and everything.
I'm gonna tell y'all, I am the stir fry king. I am the stir fry king. Baby. I will stir fry.
Now that's what's up. That's what's up.
I will stir fry something so fast. Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So for people who still eat meat, what would you suggest to them is, the best grade is organic grass-fed, like chicken and beef and so forth? Is that good for them if they still want to continue to eat meat?
Well, the key with if they're continuing to eat meat, if they want to continue to eat meat, remember, I did a show about 2 weeks ago about the corn-fed beef and the corn-fed animals. Got it? So you got to stay away from corn-fed animals. That's it. So if it was grass-fed, yes. So if it's like beef or something like that, or steaks and things like that, or, make sure it's grass-fed. That's the key. Because what happens is that, this thing about corn is everywhere. We are overbearing with nothing but corn. Corn is everywhere. They break it down in high fructose corn syrup. They break it down in the oils as corn oils. They break it down in feeding the cattle and all of the animals. So this is actually breaking down in us, or not breaking down in us, because it becomes, it's a GMO. It's a genetic modification. It's not even real. So that's where they're having, the issues with the. Remember, I don't know if y'all been listening to the, last couple of weeks. We talk about how the cattle are dying. You don't even have to slaughter the cattle anymore. Some of the cattle are eating till literally they drop. They're rotting. They're literally standing there till they rot. And then when they fall, one brother called in. You remember he called in? He said vultures. He said the vultures
won't even
coming out around the cattle while they're still alive.
Yes, that's right.
Vultures come out and just smell death.
They smell death.
So that means that the flesh on the animals is rotting because of the influx of too much of this corn, and that they're floating around them. Like you're waiting for one of them to drop, big, waiting for one of them to drop. And boom, they drop, and then that's your fast food. That's your steaks, that's your T-bones, that's your, lamb chops. That's all of it. They're feeding corn to everything. So that's what I would recommend.
Even when they say organic?
Well, remember what I just said. If it's organic, it's probably grass-fed. Okay? That's what the key is. It's only going to be two. It's either going to be grass-fed or corn-fed. So if you see the stalks, if you're going down south and you're in Atlanta and down there by the Carolinas and all the parts in the Midwest and things like that, and you specifically places like Idaho over out there, they have a lot of cornfields. Well, those cornfields are not for eating. That's not for eating. That's for field. That's field corn. That's not sweet corn. You eat sweet corn. That's field corn. That's for feed. They feed that to the animals, and then they harvest the animals and sell the animals out to the slaughterhouse. That's the difference.
Now, Dr. Paul, for people who are meatless that choose to do the other alternative, what is equivalent to protein? If they're not going to eat the meat, should they have chickpeas, or what is a really high protein?
Sure,
you
can do
lacking anything.
Right, you can do lower acidity things. Like the only one I would say, watch the seitan. Seitan is actually a little bit more acidic. The whey is actually one which is, of course, this is coming from the beans and things like that. So we're talking about the whey. You ever see the alternative meat sources? You might have seen like the Morning Stars and all the different ones out there.
Yes.
You'll see in there that there's soy-based products or some form of whey, which is a better protein. So also don't forget the mushroom. That's another protein. And then of course the beans. You know, I talked about the black beans and also the black gram. It's one called black gram, and the other one is called horse gram. Okay, you remember horse gram? Y'all ever heard horse gram? Horse gram. Okay, horse gram is actually used, and lentils. That's in the lentils family, but these are the black beans. But the horse gram has a high protein rate, sometimes up to 25 grams. Yep, a cup. So a cup could be about 25 grams. So those are things that we use. And also remember, protein comes from anything green. Only a plant can reach up and grab the nitrogen out the air to create
so true.
the amino acids, which is the building blocks for the cell. Got it? So the only building blocks for the cell comes from a plant. And the only reason that the protein comes, the animals have protein, is because the animals eat the plant. You got it? So that's not, we got to really sort of we've been miseducated big time with that thing about the protein. Protein's greatest source comes from a plant. Okay, so lentils, mushrooms, got it? Black beans, all of the different types of chickpeas, all of those have all those. If you go to that or if you download on my website, you'll see all the protein-based products right on my website. You can see the alkaline acid food chart. Okay, so protein-based, any greens are going to be a protein for you. Got it? And also the sprouts. You know, the alfalfa sprouts, the artichoke sprouts, the red clover sprouts. Those are all good.
And these are like lower calorie levels, right? Because
there is no calories. There's no carbs. Yeah.
Your carbs and your calories should be higher. It's like what
I remember these are complex carbohydrates. This is energy, straight energy. Okay. So this is not dealing with fat. See, the difference between, you remember I mentioned the difference between the field corn and the sweet corn, or the ones that they're actually purchasing, right? Or let me give you the better example. A cow or a steer that is eating the corn versus the steer that's eating the grass. The ratio of saturated fat is 9-to-1. That's amazing. Think about that for 2 seconds. That means the saturation rate is 9-to-1. That means there's 9 grams more fat that's in your arteries and veins and everything else to one that's grass fed.
Wow.
So that's where a lot of that comes from. That's where a lot of people are picking up that excess fat in their body that they don't have the ability to break it down. And that usually ends up being things like cellulite, excess fat, you know, unprocessed fat in the body. So they can't break it down.
He paused.
You still there, Doc? Did you get caught up there?
Frozen.
He's frozen. There you go. Okay, you're back now.
Okay. Maybe I'm spitting too much knowledge here, y'all. Cut him off.
No, we ain't having that.
Talking too much. Talking too much.
Answer my questions. I mean, the last one would be like, instead of dairy, they have other products like, soy, So Delicious, and they have other like almond products for,
absolutely
ice cream.
Plant-based. Yeah. Absolutely. Plant-based.
Just watch out for the sugar, right?
Well, I would say also just, remember, cow's milk is for calves. That's it. And it's from the mammary glands of a cow for a calf. So it's not for human consumption. We shouldn't be eating anything that has milk to it because it's going to block the ability for the body to absorb nutrients. Remember, if you were taken to the hospital and you actually had an overdose on drugs or medication or just food poisoning, they're going to give you milk first. Why? Because milk stops the absorption of nutrients in the body. So that means that saves you. So that means if you're drinking milk or anything that has milk on a regular basis, it's going to block your villi. Your villi is like the little hairs in your gut. and their job is to absorb the nutrients out of your food to bring it into you. But now you can't get it because it's being blocked. So, yep, I would stay off all milk. Thank you so much. Always good stuff. All right.
Okay.
Hey, Dr. Paul.
Yes.
This is Brother Farouk, man. What's up, man?
Brother Farouk, how are you, man? I know you're calling in from the phone, so go ahead. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I wanted to ask a question and make a statement. Well, two questions. One question I had was, what website was that where you could find about not the sanitary law, but the exemption, rules and regulations regarding the vaccine?
Right. It's www.v as in Victor, AC as she is in Charlie, L as in Larry, I, B as in boy, .org. And then when you / you put in exempt, that should take you right to the link.
Hey, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
You got my email, right?
I'm not sending you nothing. Yeah, I got your email.
Okay, no, really. Can you really send me that?
I'll do my best, my friend.
Well, yeah. Try to send that over to him, Bill. He's actually,
sure.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And,
no
and the next was about the what was this? The
Organo Gold.
That's a statement. That's a statement. That's afterwards. But the one question I had was also about it was something else you said. Oh man, it was relating to this. The beans in the mouth. So basically, I'm also. What about human? You said milk is not. There we go. You said milk is not. I understand. I don't drink milk because I understand what's going on. But I'm also wondering I understand this may be a weird topic, but what about baby's milk? Like breast milk. What's wrong with that for human consumption?
There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Nothing wrong with it all.
Nothing wrong with it at all. Matter of fact, we encourage women to breastfeed. That's the whole point. Is the milk for the baby is from the mother. That is correct. That's why you don't want to. Yeah.
Let us pray.
You don't want to have milk from a cow for human consumption. You got it? So
could a human being drink that?
Drink what?
Breast milk from a woman.
No.
I told you that's what.
Are you listening?
Are you a baby?
It's not for you. That is for the baby. The mother is specifically dialed up for the baby.
Yes.
Now let me give you a little bit. Let me go a little bit deeper, so maybe I can help you with this point. When the mother is just, when she starts to lactate, she starts to now. The child that binds to to the mother releases this thing called oxytocin. Mm-hmm. Okay, oxytocin is the love hormone. Let me tell you how good God is. All right, the oxytocin is the love hormone. It gives the ability for the baby to bind to the mother, but it only happens through breastfeeding. Because when that happens, and also with that connectivity, that's letting the mother and the baby communicate to dial up what the baby's true needs are when it comes to nutrition. So the areola of the woman tends to turn different colors, almost like dialing up a amount of minerals. So the darker it gets, the nipple gets, that's actually showing that it's dialing up more minerals for the baby. Wow. That's powerful, y'all. Y'all got to see the powerful and the power and understanding of how this thing is communication. It's not just nutrients, it's information. It's information. This is communication. It's bonding. It's things that are happening that you can't explain. This is where the known and unknown, where man gets in, thinks they know everything, and they can't understand why children are not connecting to their their culture, to their people, to things like that, because a lot of them are not being breastfed anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
Can I ask a question?
You got me?
Italian.
And also, let me tell you one more thing. When babies are not going through what we call the matrix, which is the woman's womb, that means they're not passing through. That means that they miss a very, very intricate part of development for the baby. So that's where cesarean births, they're moving them too fast. And yes, the child has to go through the matrix to actually come out, to actually know. That's where they're learning.
Yeah, it begins.
Sound, yes. Connectivity, finger movement. That's actually dealing with kaleidoscopes of colors. You didn't probably know, but when a baby is upside down in a mother's belly, the baby, that's why we tell the mothers to take your your shirt up, bring it up so that that the light can hit your belly.
Yes, can get to it.
Because the baby starts to see a kaleidoscope of colors, which now helps the baby's neurons in the brain start to connect. So it starts to now develop the ability between red, blue, green, all these different colors. Because
listen carefully, family.
Because the ultimate thing that a baby knows before it learns to speak, it learns emotions. So it knows when mommy's upset. I know when mommy's scared. I know when mommy's fearful because the heartbeat rose up. And when she's scared, I feel that the food that I get tastes a little bit acidic. Whoa, she must be upset. Or when mommy's happy, she's laughing. Oh, it feels good. Oh, it feels good in here. You got me? So it's all what's happening. That's why they say leave woman alone. That's why in ancient times they say,
amen.
You all right? Take care of the woman. Put her feet up. You know, what can I get you something? What you want? You want pickles and ice cream? What you want? They went crazy because they wanted to make sure that she does everything that the baby is calling for, So that's why I'm saying, so the milk is for the baby, not for you, not for anybody else, but that baby. You got it? That's the key.
Okay. Oh, that's powerful.
Yes, it's powerful, man.
It's powerful. I like how you unpack that message.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as organo is concerned, I've been receiving some notices, which phone calls from your cousin, but he never got back to me. And I called him a few, but I just let it go to where it needs to go. But I was also trying to also request if there's anyone that that I know some people may not understand about the coffee or whatever, but they can also donate as well, as a support.
Hey, why don't you give them your number? I know your number's on screen, but for those that may be listening, can you give them your number? And this is what Brother Farouk actually has the Organo Gold, we actually call the Ganoderma coffee that I recommend. I say those that are trying to kick the coffee, we use what's called Ganoderma, which is actually a mushroom coffee, and that's a better coffee because it deals with alkalinity. It's straight alkalinity, deals with memory, dementia, all those things. So it's a better coffee than the other ones that are out there. Okay, so give them your number if you can.
Sure. My phone number is
Go ahead. Give your number.
267-461-6091.
Okay, so again, that's 267-461-6091. Give them a call. Now, do have a website? But it's a little long, though, right? Do you have that?
Yes. My website is my first name. I has an update to it. My first name, last name, which is FARUQ, right? Last name is Washington. 1001.my, which is MY, Organo, ORGANO, gold.com.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
And one more. As far as my Cash App is concerned, it is I believe it's Farouk $90.
Okay.
1990.
Okay.
Got it. Yes. Okay. All right, thank you, Farouk. Appreciate you, brother. All right.
Sister Talia had a question Dr. Paul. Talia?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know you.
That's all right.
I do have a question. So I know that the coffee is with mushrooms. Is it true that mushrooms are radioactive? Because I was saying some people say that they're not safe to eat. And as far as the breast milk, there was like an article with a woman that actually gave her dad, he was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she actually gave her dad like her breast milk, and apparently it was no longer detected. So
yeah, I mean, you can find strange abnormalities like that, you know, someone that was malnutrition. His probably biggest issue was he was malnutrition, you know, so that's why I'm saying that breast milk is very nutritious, but it's for the baby. Got it? He shouldn't be getting it from the milk. He should be getting it from some greens. So this again goes back to being out of balance, out of order. You know, not to say it didn't do him good in his situation because he was in a crisis situation. But if he went to someone that knows, they would have gave him the proper things that he needed. And he just happened to be lucky to get it from the baby's milk, you know, from the mother. First question you mentioned was radioactivity with anything like mushrooms depends on where it's coming from. That's the question you always got to ask. You know, anything that's coming from anything, period, on this planet, you got to start asking, where does it come from? And what was the manufacturing, and if there was processes involved with it. You know, mushrooms, just like everything in the world, you gotta ask questions. So mushrooms, not to my knowledge of anything dealing radioactive. If anything, probably radioactive, it would have to come from Fukushima, which is over in of course, Japan, and that's the southern region of Japan. Okay.
Thank you for that.
All right. Anything else? Let's see here. Let's see. Big B, you got somebody else over there?
Yeah, there was one and they were talking about the herb unicorn. Is it safe for women's health?
Well, it depends. Remember, the herb is for, it's not if it's safe for women's health, is if it's good for you. Got it? The only good herb is the best herb is the herb for you. Just understand what the unicorn does. Okay, the unicorn is good for, you know, cycles, rhythms, things like that. So it's based on the person that's actually using the herb. But long as it's organic, long as it's been, you know, no processes, and it's in its raw form, you can take it properly, but through the recommendation of someone that says, number one, you need it.
Okay. All right. Another question. What is is there a list of voltage properties for food?
Voltage? You said voltage?
Yes, voltage properties for food.
Voltage properties for food. That can be something that you may be able to find the alkalinity levels. That's why we have it on the acid alkaline food chart. The specific voltages is going to vary, because right now all the food is being modified, but we're living in an atmosphere where the nitrogen in the air, you know, the effects of pollution, emissions, radiation have altered that. So that's always going to vary based on where it's coming from. The real question you should be asking is, what is your soil? Where is the soil coming from? Because that's what yields the energy for the plant and for the herb or for the food. Got it? So really it's our food that's being denatured. So that's what I would do first. But there may be some things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff online. You can go online and probably find some voltages, but really all you got to do is look for the color. How about that? The color of the fruit tells you the highest charge. What do we say? The higher the color close to purple is the highest charge. You got it? See, God already had this thing. It's called law. It's basically doctrine of signatures. Write that down. Doctrine of signatures. Okay, you don't have to worry about being technical with machines and all this stuff. All you got to look is at the color of the fruit or vegetable actually dictates the voltage and the level. So the highest would be what? Alkalinity highest would be purple, red, violet. Those colors. What's those colors, family? What's colors those? What's purple?
Eggplant.
Eggplant, right. What else?
Carrots.
Purple carrots. Yes.
Cabbage.
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 That's right.
Sweet potato.
You got purple potatoes. That's right. You got purple potatoes. So that means whenever you see the purple, that's the highest charge.
Yes.
Beets.
The highest energy.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower. Yes, you do have. You have purple cauliflower. Yes, you do. That's right. Some even say in ancient time. Yes, onions. That's right. Purple onion. Some even say that even in ancient time, everything was purple. That means it yields a higher oxygen rate on the planet. See, before we fell off our axis, because right now the Earth is sort of tilted and we're wobbling like this. That's why our magnetic north and true north are totally off, and we're wobbling. That's why our weather patterns are all jacked up right now. But we wobbling right now. So when we were on our axis, the planet was not. It was watered by mist. Y'all hear that? That means there was quick rains. Come in real fast, and sun back out again. That was it. You didn't have these long storms, for all day long stuff. Matter of fact, if you go to places like Colombia and parts of the world down in places like Costa Rica, they still have those same patterns of what the true Earth was like when it didn't wobble up at north. It rains like rainforest. That's why they call it the rainforest. It comes right in, and then it's gone. Then the sun come back out, and it's like constantly that's going on and off all day. It's like turning on like a faucet all throughout the day. So you get a lot of rainbow activity. You got so the vegetation and things are very high because they're actually being watered frequently. Yeah. So that has a lot to do with the pattern. So hopefully y'all got something out of that. That actually, the purples is what I would look for. Purples. Then you get with the, of course, the reds, the greens. Yep. Dark leaf greens. Those are the ones that you want to stick with. Got it? All right. Let's see. I'm going to go up to the top here, Big B.
Okay.
Good questions, y'all. Y'all got some good stuff tonight. All right. Is that Tressa? Tressa?
Yes, that's me.
How you doing?
I'm good.
That's you. That's you. Paul? I'm doing well. Doing well.
All right. So my question is about, I think Bacopa is the herb you mentioned that switches between right brain and left brain activity.
Yep.
So does that happen on its own, or like how exactly does that work? And then what's the difference between that and the mind care that you mentioned earlier?
Well, Mind Care has the Bacopa in it. That's part of the ingredients that's in the formula. Bacopa, it's not the Bacopa that's switching from left to right. I want to be very, very clear on that. This means that your thinking process, it helps your body, the ability for your body to transmit information left to right. So that means that you utilize more energy in both hemispheres. So that means you think on a whole nother level. That's what it allows to do. So it's actually enhancing neuron activity in the brain. So it allows you to think on a whole nother level. Not a lot of people can think on both sides. Some people can be logical or they can be creative, but they can't do both. This allows you to merge the hemispheres, to be logical and creativity at the same time, which is a powerful, powerful piece, which means that you have the ability for recall, like no other. So that's what Bacopa was used for, and it's still being used for cognitive function and recall and being able to be detailed. Genius comes from detail. That's what genius really is. When somebody say, oh, that's a genius painting. Look at that painting. It's beautiful. You'll notice that painting is very detailed. That's what makes it so much. That's what brings out the beauty. So that's what Bacopa does. Bacopa gets into the sort of the finer points and allows you to transfer from left to right. Get you thinking. Boy, I'll tell you can be somebody bad with some Bacopa now. Bacopa make you bad, boy. You better look out.
Can children take mind care?
Yes. Well, not mind care. We wouldn't give children mind care. No. Children don't need a whole lot of stuff. Children just need to be on the right diet, because if there's something wrong, then you start to address those issues. It's usually adults that usually have the problem. So we don't mess with children. Yeah. Children tend to be dietary problems. So whenever you want to make sure that if someone's having something with their children, it's usually the parents that the problem is really the parents and what they're feeding the child. All right, Tressa,
Okay.
is there anything else?
Yeah, I did have another question. So I'm in the market for a new phone, right? So most everything now is like 5G technology, and I know like Sweden and certain other countries have like actually outlawed that technology. So what can I do? Like, because pretty much other than get an old refurbished phone, what can I do?
Absolutely nothing. You can do absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry,
caught me a
Tressa.
rock on a hard place.
I'm sorry to have to break that news, but they're about to turn on the 5G. See, the 5G is not on yet. It's
Yes.
very spotty right now. They're doing it in certain areas. So your phone may light up LTE,
Yep.
and it may do 5G, and it may be in certain areas, but it's not fully operational yet. That's not going to happen till about November. Now, what's going to happen in November? I can't tell you. I don't know, but when they turn this thing on, you got about 22,000 satellites that are going to be beaming down this
Amen.
technology. Now,
Can't forget the Shungite stones.
yep, you got to get your shungite, y'all. You better get
What
your
is it?
shungite.
How you spell that?
Shungite. She's like, I get that. What's that? Shungite. What's that? Yes, shungite. SHUNGITE. It's going crazy. Big B, it's going bananas online. You
I know,
can't
man.
find. I mean, people are buying shungite stones like.
I found them.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yep, Amazon got them, and they are going out the window so fast. Let me tell you. So shungite is a grounding stone. Okay, it's a grounding stone. So it's used to, it's used to ground and to bring down the charge and reflect. It's also a 0 ohm, so whatever it hits goes right to the ground. So you got shungite bracelet. You also have shungite. You have shungite necklaces. Some people have belt buckles. You got a lot of different variations of shungite. So that's the one that we recommend. There's other ones also. We've given out several. Amazonite is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Amazonite. Labradorite. Yep, from Labrador, Scotland. Let's see. We have also black garnet. Black garnet is another one.
And this mostly comes in the form of jewelry. You saying?
You can get them in raw stones also.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, you can get them in raw stones also. Raw stones or bracelets, anything to bring it down, especially when it's around you. Now, you can also get on the phone. Can you see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
See that right there?
Mm-hmm.
See that right there? That is actually a diode. Okay, that's a stone right there. And you can buy that right at the herbal store. Matter of fact, Pollock Herbs sells this one right here.
Okay.
Okay. Also, there's a website that deals with that. You can buy the diodes from Delbert Blair's website. Anybody know who Delbert Blair is?
No.
Okay, Delbert Blair. Let me see if I can pull his information up. Delbert Blair was a metaphysicist, and he did with the metaphysical. And he had, before he passed away, which he was one of our incredible ancestors that really just, had incredible knowledge. But Delbert Blair, let me see if I can get a website for y'all. Let's see. If you just punch in it's called the Meta Center. MetaCenterChicago.com. He's from Chicago. Good friend of mine, man. We lost when we lose some of these elders that have this tremendous amount of knowledge. I learned a lot from him. It's like burning down a library when we lose them. It's like burning down a library. And Delbert Blair was one of them. And you can get all of the different things from him, including like the shungite. He has he even has he even breaks down how your coils in your bed. Did y'all know? So, see, Big B, my mind is going somewhere. See what you did, Tressa? See, Tressa just started something. I'm thinking now. Yeah, so the 5G, that's what it is. So the 5G resonates all around us, and it actually is millimeter waves, so it's actually very toxic for your cells. So you got to put a protection around you. Okay. So Delbert also has this thing where you put under your mattress, because if you have your bed, you should never have your bed facing an outlet. Now think about that. Everybody think about your bed. Think about your bed. Never have your head at the point where there is a socket behind your head.
But Dr. Paul,
Let me finish, because I know that's going to start some questions. What's happening is everything that has an electromagnetic field starts to project a distance. So the distance off of every electrical outlet in your home can be as far as 3 to 4 feet. You got it? So that's projecting a electromagnetic field, which is radiation, right? So if you have your bed connected to it, then your bed is getting hit from the springs, is electrifying the springs. This is deep, because Delbert Blair was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. He showed how people were getting sick because their head in their bed was facing the outlets in their room. And he tied in how people were, coming up with cancers and stuff like that. Had a lot to do with, the electromagnetic fields in the homes. So, if you go to his website, he'll give you all that good stuff. Write his name down, Delbert Blair.
I put it in the chat,
yes.
Dr. Paul.
Yeah, Delbert Blair. Look that up. So Tressa, yes, he has all that stuff.
Tressa's starting trouble. That's all.
She's starting trouble, big.
That's
all right, though.
Because one thing leads to another thing, and then these are all important points, because people have not been, aware of this electromagnetic field here in America.
Yes.
But overseas, they know that this stuff is real and that it causes cancer, because it's actually very bad. It's erratic. It's very erratic to your cells. It tears your cells down. Now, if you already have a pH problem and you got acidosis or inflammation from osteo or rheumatism, or you got bone, joint, ligament issues, or you got a heart issue, it's already a problem. That's going to create and make it an even more intensified problem. So, yes, electromagnetic fields are very real. All right?
What is that you put on the back of your phone? Could you spell it?
It's a diode. D-I-O-D-E. Diode.
Thank you.
D-I-O-D-E.
So, Dr. Paul, we're covering the outlet so it doesn't have any prongs to go into it. Would that help? Or you have to just get everything taken out?
Well, just don't put your bed next to the outlet. That's the whole point.
But if you have outlets all around, what are you gonna hang from the ceiling?
Yeah, that might work.
What might work? What might work?
A hammock. A hammock might work. No, only kidding. But yes,
I think that the waves, the frequencies are already out there.
No, it does. All it just means is that you would have things to ground it. Like we talked about the shungite, the tourmaline, things like that. You would just put those specifically in the areas of like behind the bed, and it just grounds it. That's all. So it brings it down, brings the voltage down.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about, y'all. But think about this. Everybody right now, they upgraded all of our electric, right? So now all of our electric is Wi-Fi, right? So all your boxes, they don't have to come in your house no more, for water, for electric or gas. They just read from outside your house, right? Well, how are they doing that? That's because your electromagnetic fields, they got Wi-Fi. Well, if everybody in your neighborhood has that same thing, then you created what's called an electromagnetic field now.
Yes.
And they call them smart homes.
And then you think about, and they calling them smart homes, them dumb homes. So when you think about now, just like we in this Zoom.
Are you saying a Tesla too?
See, wait a minute. See how we're in this block right now. We're in a block in the Zoom, right? That's an apartment building on each one on top of each other. And each one has electromagnetic field. You got gas, electric, water, And then you also got your personal Wi-Fi, because everybody got the phone, and you got your personal desktop computer probably, right? You got also a phone. Everybody got their 65-inch TV nowadays. So all
yes,
this
Lord,
stuff going on in each one of these little boxes on top of each other, you're creating a incredible atmosphere and dynamic for electromagnetic fields.
You're going all through your head.
Everybody in now you wonder why everybody in the apartment building got arthritis.
So Dr. Paul, you also mentioned that you could use black tourmaline powder. Did I hear you say that? Tourmaline?
No, black tourmaline is actually a stone also. It's tourmaline is a ground stone. Any black stone, believe it or not, and that includes like an onyx also. Onyx is black.
Onyx too?
Yep, onyx is a grounding stone. Any black stone is a grounding stone. So you may already have black stones. So any black stone, wear it, and it will actually brings down the vibration, brings it down.
I think somebody gave me something in a powder form, that black tourmaline, but I didn't know what to do with it. So it's just kind of sitting in a package. But
just looking at you like, oh, what you gonna do?
Yeah, but so okay.
Got it.
Dr. Paul, I sleep on a grounding mat and I do earthing. Is that some of the same thing? I just placing my feet on it. I mean, it's free. So you know, if you live in a house and you don't have, I guess, room to change your bedroom around, that's just a way. Just standing on the earth.
Yeah.
The earth sends charges to your body and it just pulls it out. So walking barefoot on grass, find you a patch, and I do that, and I've found that to work for me with pains. When I used to have pains and stuff in my knee, I do earthing all the time.
I tell those that have arthritis, go out to a park. You remember we talk about hugging the tree, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all, they think that's crazy. Y'all going out there hugging trees. Y'all gonna make me look bad. You okay? You gonna feel bad? You wanna look bad? So what you want to do is go out there and just, if you can just sit on the root. If you sit on the root, you're grounding yourself. You got it? See, we get off balance because we're not grounding ourselves. So that's where we got to do back to grounding. Grounding your charge. It's like if you're an electrician, you have a positive, negative, and you got a ground wire. That ground is very important. So where is our ground? Our ground usually is our liver, but you got to ground that charge. Got it? So you got to back to the earth. If you're out of balance, you can't sleep, you got issues with anxiety, that means you're being de-earthed. You got to get back to the earth. Go back to the earth. Let it reset you. Got it? Happens. I'm going to tell you, all it takes about 15, 20 minutes. Just sitting there and breathing. That's all you got to do.
Just think about all these folks driving Teslas, Dr. Paul.
Huh? What was that?
I said, just think about all these people driving Teslas.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the Teslas are very dangerous right now. The Tesla cars are very dangerous. You know, they're... You know, this whole thing about sleeping and letting your car drive you, yo, please, y'all, don't do that, yo.
Can I ask a question about the frequency?
Okay, we're gonna go in a second. Hold on, let me make. I just want to make sure we're going in line here. Okay, Khadijah, is that you?
Yeah,
Khadijah?
that's me.
Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
Good evening, family.
Good evening,
I just wanted to say you must be the hardest working naturopathic doctor in the United States. And I know we all really appreciate you and all the time you spend answering all our questions on Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays and any other events we'll be doing. So just thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. God is good.
Yes, he is. Now, a short question is, what is a lie bump? And what can you do to get rid of it? Or do you have to just wait for it to go away?
Okay.
I think it's your body getting rid of waste, but I don't know.
That is exactly what it is. That's exactly it. Remember, any eruption of the skin anywhere is the waste coming out. It's the liver purging. So bumps, blisters, boils, psoriasis, eczema, all of that stuff. All that stuff is purging. This body's trying to get rid of it. You know, it's either trying to get rid of it or it isolates it. That's what the fibroid cyst and tumors are. They're starting to isolate. They either isolate or purge. They're trying to get rid of it. Ain't it awesome that here your body is programmed to correct itself? It's trying to work on your behalf. It's trying to do. It's doing its best. It's
Yes,
already
you gotta
programmed.
help it.
You got to
Yes.
help your body do what it's
Yes.
already doing.
For
And
sure.
the part that we don't have is that we have not been educated that these are the things that we have to do.
Mhm.
We've gotten away from the true nature of what it takes to take care of yourself, and we've lost a lot of common nature, with things, because once you learn a few of the fundamentals, you can pretty much figure out everything else. Once you know about water and how plants life is and how the body works and the system of the body, you really don't have to, pretty much push it too much, because the body is like, it's very simple. It's very simple. It just needs the right food, and it'll purge and cleanse the body. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Now the other thing I wanted to mention, last week somebody was mentioning taking Listerine, the original Listerine, which is really disgusting. But it has alcohol in it. And I think I've read somewhere where they find a lot of people are starting to have throat cancer related to that. So I just wanted to mention, and I don't know how true that is, but
yeah, I would say this is probably
darky.
some. Yeah. I mean, anytime you have, pretty much it's alcohol, it's going to be used for as like they're using it to as a way of like cleansing. You got to think that's cleansing. That's what they're doing. But I would say it's probably something else going on with that person.
Okay.
That's causing that.
Doesn't have that kind of throat cancer.
Nah, I mean there may be some things that are in Listerine that have changed from this original formula, but really a lot of people will even use Listerine as an insecticide, like an insecticide, or something like for cuts and burns, cuts and burns and stuff like that. So you gotta really this is what I would say, family. Read. You gotta look at the original, what's on the labels, because the labels do change, and these companies do cut corners. And and things that they used to be, they have it may look like the old Listerine, but it's probably not the same ingredients. I'm gonna tell you.
Because the devil's out there, and the devil's working hard against the
I'm gonna tell y'all. I mean, you gotta read everything, family. You gotta question everything. Stop going for the marketing and the advertising. Usually the ones that have the best labels are the worst products. Y'all hear that?
That's
Think
right.
about that. The best labels are the worst products.
And the most of the stuff they advertise is the worst stuff for you.
Yep, usually is the best labels.
Best jingle. But I wanted to mention that I use a mouth rinse that has peppermint, cinnamon bark, clove, rosemary, and myrrh. And it also includes tea tree oil, which is an antiseptic also.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, that's an excellent formula right there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Khadija. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. All right. We have, is that Mella? Is that Mella Savage?
Yes, it is. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
I thank you for telling us about the Epsom salt in the garden.
And what about goat's milk?
And I planted a garden this year, and everyone who has seen my plant said they've never seen squash with leaves that large.
Wow.
And the tomatoes are prolific, as well as the greens. I even found some red organic okra, and I have been enjoying it.
Awesome.
And hopefully I will do more even next year. But my question to you is, did you have any luck planting your moringa tree?
No, I didn't. I didn't plant it. I just kept the seeds, and I still have the seeds. I did not plant it yet because I didn't have the right atmosphere for them. I had a little outbreak around my garden of poison ivy. So I got to make sure I get a specific area. I had to treat that to make sure I got rid of it before I did anything. So I had to treat it with some things like the neems and things like that before I had to, I'm going to have a special area for the moringa. Yeah. Or you talking about the you said moringa, right? Moringa seeds?
Moringa, yes. I've tried, but I haven't had any luck, and I was just asking the question.
Yeah, and you remember moringa seeds have to be you try to get as close as you can. They usually start them off though in trash bags. Okay, I don't know if you know that. Like they'll build like little trash bags and start them there first. And without going, you're not going straight in the ground, right? You're going straight in the ground?
Yes.
No, don't do that. Start in a small trash bag. You can get like the small trash bag, fill it with dirt and soil, and keep it feed. And you start it from there first, small, and then as they start to grow, because they're going to grow fast. You start them from there first, and then they'll start to sprout. You'll see the seeds come, or the actual the seed will catch. As they say.
Okay, I'll try that because I thought that you couldn't transplant it, so that's why I was trying to.
Yeah, actually, if you go online, you can show how they're doing it in other places around the world. See, moringa has the ability to grow in places that are very hard climates, and you just got to get it started. Though, when you get it started, you pretty much make sure it's got plenty of sunshine, give it good water, and usually it will catch.
Great, thank you.
All right. Hey, you know what? I want to say one thing. She just mentioned something for those who are listening for the very first time. I talked about, I guess weeks ago, we talked about how to make your garden come alive. And I talked about how the element that makes all green life is magnesium. And that's what you're looking at. So if you want to bring the life to your plants, you add a little magnesium to your garden and all your plants, and the green, it will come very dark green. And that dark green amplifies the nutrients for the food, and also it amplifies the color of the actual flower itself. So it's actually more energy. So thanks for that, Mel. I appreciate you. That was excellent. That's a great testimony there, Big B. Yes, okay. Absolutely. All right, so let's see. Who do we have here? Give me a question. Okay, hold on for a second there, Barbara. Hold on for a second there. B, give me a question there. I'm gonna come back to Barbara. Okay, she's got a little technical problem there.
Yeah. Okay. No. I think you pretty much covered most of the questions that were in the actual chat itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. All right. Let's see.
Question about 5G.
Oh, yes. I think you were covering the 5G just now, weren't you, Dr. Paul?
Yeah. What's the question on the 5G?
So my children were at the park, and it was like a bunch of children on the opposite side of the court, and there was like 20 of children there, and they all start grabbing their ears and saying that, ouch, it hurts. So I saw that my children were grabbing their ears as well. So I was like, what's wrong? They were like, Mommy, you don't hear that? It's like this dog whistle sound, like ringing in our ears. Like, it hurts. And it was like, that was the first time I ever experienced that. No. But this is the second time that happened.
No, they're actually doing this at the parks. I don't know if y'all know about this, but there are sonic there are actually sonic defense things that they're using to keep people out of a park for after a certain period of time. They're hearing something. They're absolutely hearing it. Even
though it was daytime?
Yeah, it could be going off. Somebody's probably not aware that it's going off, but it's going off. See, they actually they had a movement to ban these things because of children, things like that, because of also animals, because it's to warn them off. And they were having problems with crime in areas like the parks and stuff like that, like, the recreation centers, where they started to roll out this technology. And this technology is actually the same technology that's used out on the ocean. Like over in the east side of Africa, or the east side of the Indian Ocean, I believe it is, they actually have a lot of pirating going on. So they use these what's called sonic weapons. And these sonic weapons are actually to deter people from, robbing the ships. So they use these things, and it actually is a high-pitched frequency that becomes so disturbing that you can't always function, because it's right on the frequency where it starts to cause your nerves to be like, like that. And yes,
because that's what the children were doing. And my children were running the other day, and it was happening. They weren't even in the park.
Yep. You got sonic devices that are being used in parks. Yeah.
Does it mess with their neurological system?
No, it's just a deterrent. That's all it is. It's just going to be high pitched frequency. They call it sonic devices. I'm pulling up something right now. Sonic devices play high pitched noises to repel teens. That's what.
Oh wow, yeah, because we didn't hear it at all.
All right, so if you do this, you can punch this in. Sonic devices target teenagers in Philadelphia.
Well, specifically, that's deep, y'all.
Are you hearing this?
Specifically Philadelphia.
I just found this article right here. So it's actually saying, it says, to keep teens away after closing hours, Philadelphia has installed sonic devices in parks. They are noisemakers that mostly the young hear and have been banned elsewhere. So y'all didn't even know about this, did y'all? No. Ain't y'all glad y'all tuned in today? All right.
Dr. Paul.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. Yep. And this, matter of fact, it's also in the chat. I wanted to ask you a question about the ivermectin.
Yes.
Okay. Let me come back to that one. Gloria. Hold up for a second, okay? I just want to finish. I want to come back to that. I want to finish this article because this is very important. When you're talking about in the county, Philadelphia is trying to keep certain unwanted people out of parks. The city has been playing a constant high-pitched noise at night, a noise that only teenagers and young adults can hear. Here's let's see. If you look at the rec center building at Philadelphia's East Popular Playground, you'll see a small beige speaker screwed into the wall. Every night at 10 p.m., that tiny speaker activates, and for 8 hours it plays nonstop. You got it? That's what it is. So you're absolutely correct. They're hearing it. Absolutely. That was actually a deterrent, and like I said, it comes from meridian time when they're using water, when they're like the boats to warn off pirates, that are in the East Ocean when they're actually robbing. So that's where it comes from. All right. So look that up. I would say look more of that information. Probably you need to make that aware of someone in the park or in that building that it's going off during the day, because it's not supposed to be going off during the day. It's supposed to be in the evening after night. It's supposed to be at night only. That's the only way. So somebody's probably just not knowing and probably turned it on, probably hit the switch and didn't even know they hit the switch. But yeah, that's real, y'all. That's real. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good question. All right. Who else was that? Was that Cynthia?
Yep, that was me. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, what were you talking about?
Oh, don't you remember? Okay.
She's talking about the ivermectin, Dr. Paul.
I was talking about ivermectin because this is the thing. I'm not taking the shot or whatever, because stuff don't add up. Okay. And I was thinking about the ivermectin, but I had to wait so long to get it. Now it's all on the news. It was never on the news. Now it's the biggest media thing on the news. Look, I trust you. Okay. What is your opinion on this ivermectin?
Hey, ivermectin's been around a long time. It's used to fight off parasites, and specifically the arthropods. Okay, arthropods. Now, what is arthropods? Arthropods are like lice, things like scabies, things like roaches, things like also that's sea vegetables also, y'all. I'm not sea vegetables, seeds. That's shellfish also. That means shellfish, shrimp, lobsters, crab. That's all arthropods. So it's been always used specifically for this thing called the roundworm in cattle. That's what it was used for, the roundworm. So that's why they give it to dogs and stuff like that, for dogs and cats. So it's been always used as a anti-parasitic. It's an isolation. I would say I would not use something like that because that was for, an isolation. And then remember, it's a fermentation. It is a fermentation, isolation. So some people have shown that it has corrected a lot of problems. But remember, if it's successful for people, that means it's attacking parasites in the body. So I would tell people and understand that there is a study that shows that those that did not use ivermectin, these are farmers, they used the alternative one, which was neem. That was it. So those that didn't use ivermectin, they used neem. There was a study that was done. And the reason why they used neem was because they showed that the cattle, when they gave the ivermectin, they increased something like 5 pounds more with the cattle, and it was excess fat, which was causing a lot of problems, as opposed to when they did the neem, there was no fat involved.
Okay.
So the study was that neem, remember, neem is anti-parasitic, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiseptic. That's on our list, y'all. That's on our list. That's on our list of top.
So is the neem is the neem going to be the tea or the oil?
It can be either one. It can be
either one. Okay.
Anything you can do. Remember, neem was also anti-parasitic in India. See, there was a Indian sister, who actually was being their government was being sued by these Western Europeans who tried to patent the neem pesticide. But these people in India have been doing it for thousands of years. So they tried to come in and say that they owned it, and that if they were going to use it, then they would have to pay them. So they threw that thing out. It was one Indian sister who had the entire government turned upside down with the people, and finally they passed it. So what does that show you? That shows you that neem is a very powerful, powerful herb. That's one that flushes the body of everything. That's why I say, family, we've been so lied to when it comes to food and what herbs actually balance the body and correct it. Neem is one of them. That's why they call neem the miracle tree. Okay. They call it the miracle tree because it yields everything you could possibly ever need in life. And that's what Gandhi had. Y'all saw Gandhi, right? Y'all remember Gandhi? Y'all saw who saw Gandhi? Who saw Gandhi? Y'all saw Gandhi? Oh, what? Two hands saw Gandhi. Y'all know who Gandhi is. Some of y'all, know who Gandhi is. When you saw him, they showed pictures of him in the prison. And he was in the prison, and then he was in there. He had a glass of water and had a little teeny plate, and he was in there real skinny and frail. And they thought that he was like starving. Gandhi wasn't starving. Gandhi was in there with water and neem leaves. He was sitting in there, he was faking them all out. He was eating no neem, and he was never starving because the neem leaves will supply everything that the body will ever need in every level. Bacteria, viral, fungal, septic, parasitic, and it's also the highest nutrients of all herbs. So that's why the lore of it goes that when the Most High God brought down, the angels of heaven brought down this is the lore, y'all. This is the lore. When the angels of heaven brought down the seeds and planted neem, some of them, when they were going back up, one of the angels stumbled and flipped over, extra more, went over his shoulder onto the tree, and that's what the neem. So that in India, if you plant a neem tree in your garden, it is said that you will have luck all your life because neem feeds everything in life. Everything feeds off of neem.
Amen.
So y'all gonna all get y'all some neem trees now.
Well, I know that's right. I know that's right.
Neem leaves.
Got
moringa over here. Got neem
over here.
I know that's right.
Don't need nothing else.
That's it.
Oh man, listen, I got one here before we get out of here because we're almost about at that 9 o'clock spot. Question: what should someone do if they're in the hospital with many tests being run, no definitive answers, more exploratory procedures being ordered, and if they have too much carbon? What do you do?
They have too much what?
Carbon.
Carbon.
They're in hospital with too much carbon.
Man, bad place, man. It's hard to do anything when you go into the hospital now because you're under strict guidelines and regulations. Not only with being COVID, but also now you have insurance that you have to deal with because of the level of security. You got the craziness that's going on. You know, it's not a good place to be right now. You know, you try not to be there if you can absolutely avoid it. But if you got to be there, you know, because you have a structural issue or something that you have to stabilize, I can only say that, you know, if you have too much carbon in the system, you know, carbon dioxide. I'm thinking that carbon, is that what they're talking about?
It just says carbon.
Carbon dioxide. They're probably talking about carbon dioxide, which means that they're not getting enough oxygen. They're not breathing right. They're not getting it out of the system. I'm just paraphrasing.
Sure.
Hopefully that's probably what they're talking about. So that means oxygen. That means that they're not breathing right. So, and usually when all the things that are going on, they're running all the tests and they're doing the things that you have to do, you have to adhere to what they're doing now. You can't go outside the box. You can't bring somebody herbs. You can't bring them something to eat. You can't do anything. It's, you know, it's a tough situation. That's all I can really say about that one. It's really hard to get someone out of that situation. You got to try to, you know, help them as much as you can. Work with the doctors, I would say. Try to get them some real nutrients because the food is definitely nothing there. I would try to get them a green drink. That's what I try to tell people. If you're in the hospital, you know, try to get a green drink to them, you know, where they can take something. And if you have a communication with the nurses to say, hey, this is so-and-so's green drink, this is their nutritional drink. And usually doctors will approve the green drink. You know, so I would say work with the doctors because remember, carbon dioxide is basically waste of when they're breathing, but oxygen comes from hydrogen base. So that's where the greens come in. So if you start to now alkalize, you're going to get more oxygen. So hopefully that helps them out. Okay. But it's a tough situation right now, family. I mean, when you're dealing with hospitals, you got to deal with regulations. I mean, these people are not playing right now. This Delta and all these variants that are going on, it's very real. It's very real. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
We're at that 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna take
9 o'clock.
I'm gonna take a couple more, and then we're gonna close out. Okay.
Okay, you got it.
I have Maria. Is that Maria?
Yes, Maria's been waiting very patiently. She can't
Did
get
you almost fall off the couch?
There you go.
You almost fall out the couch there.
My question is about anxiety. What can I give someone to help them with anxiety?
Yeah. We've mentioned several times different things. I can just give you in general herbs that are calmatives. Okay. And not to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. That's food for the soul, family. One of the ones that we start with is willow bark. Willow bark. We also have kava, K-A-V-A. We also have rosemary. Okay. We also have red raspberry.
Okay, I did give her that.
Red raspberry.
Okay.
We also have valerian root. That's only for evenings. Valerian is, matter of fact, that's where they get Valium from.
Gotcha.
So you take that only in the evening, though. You don't take that during the day.
Okay.
Because if you took that during the day, you might tell somebody where they need to go. You be like, you know what? I really don't like you. You say you
that won't be good.
You act a little strange there, Maria. What's going on? You just a little bit relaxed.
Quick question. Like I haven't been in for my assessment. Won't be till January. But I've been picking things that I think I need. Is it okay to like mix herbs, or do you really have to know how and when to take them? I mean, I followed the bottle, but I'm mixing, like I'm taking quite a few things at one time.
Usually we start off with balance first. That's why we do the green drinks. The green drinks are balanced. I would start there first, and then if there's something specific that you have that you're trying to tackle, that's what pushes it to that area. So, for example, if it was like high blood pressure, then you would take, the green drink, and you would take something that helps deal with the heart, which is like hawthorn berries.
Right.
Or that's what it does. It pushes it to where it needs to go. See, the green drinks are to hold the voltage in the body, which is the energy. That's the cold. That's the good. That's the thing. That's why I tell people the secret to it all. The secret to it all is if you can apply the principle of taking a green drink 3 times a day, that will change your life. I guarantee it. Because the body says, I got energy that I've never had before. And you living on this northern hemisphere have never received this much energy. You usually have degenerated soils, bad water, pollution, all this stuff. But now when your body gets hit with land and sea, whole different thing. And it's not from here. It's not from here. It's closer to the equator. Remember, we talk about the equator. Equator's hottest place on the planet. That's why we start there first, Maria. And then if you have a specific situation, then we'll drive the herb based on what you're trying to get it to
So
do.
then I should basically, until my assessment, just do the green drink and the tonic, the black bitter
usually, I tell you, usually people straighten out just with a green drink, and make sure you drink plenty of water. Usually that starts to deal with blood pressure, deals with plaque on the inside of the arteries and veins, cleans the liver, cleans the intestines. It does everything. That's why the whole concept of the natural green balance is what it's all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Last one. I got last one. Big B, you pick me one last one. Pick me one last one.
Let me see. Let me see the last person.
Yes.
Let me see.
The last hand. You see the hands?
The last hand. I see Sharon Williams.
Sharon.
Hi. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. How you doing?
Right. I would want to ask you a question. You mentioned, I have a couple questions. Is that okay?
Okay, good.
Okay. The first one is, you mentioned what to take for the eyes if you don't have high blood pressure. I have high blood pressure, and my eyes have been bad since I was a child, but they've gotten considerably worse later. And do I take the same thing that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah. You don't have high blood pressure, right?
I do. I struggle with. I'm weaning off those. I'm doing herbs in place of the medicine, which I was able to go 4 days without the medicine, and then of course I had to take it. And then it was too low. My blood pressure was so low all day today, and I'm not sure how to handle that. But I feel like I'm coming off because I'm doing herbs and.
Yeah. The other thing you have to watch out for. You remember with the eyes, the cranial arteries in the eyes are very thin. So whenever there's blood pressure issues, it's going to affect the eyes first because the cranial arteries are very small. So if there's a systemic problem already with your body having blood pressure problems, then it's going to affect the eyes. That's why the eyes are the first thing that affects when you have blood pressure issues, or also when you have sugar. So you got to watch your sugar too. Watch the refined sugar, refined salt, refined oils. Got it?
Okay, refined oils. Okay.
Refined oils. Everything should be unrefined. Okay. So no sugar. Watch it. If you're not buying it directly, watch it indirectly. So that means cakes, cookies, pies, all those things. They usually have something else in them that's usually refined. So that's where usually the problem. And then what happens is the body says, I can't, it's too dehydrated, so I need water. So I'm going to take the water out of your arteries and veins. And the first place it takes it from the arteries and veins comes right from your eyes. Starts to shrink those arteries in your eyes. And next thing you know, build up mucus, builds up, cataracts, and then eventually pressure builds up. That's glaucoma. So this is a trickle down effect. It starts to tear down slowly, but it starts with we mentioned eye bright. We mentioned Dr. Christopher's eye bright formula, bilberry, bayberry, huckleberry. Those are all the family. Also lutein, and the other one would be gotu-kola. Gotu-kola. Gotukola. 2 words.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, family. All right.
Yes, sir, buddy.
Good question. Big,
everywhere, man.
We are done.
We are done. 9:07, guys.
Wow.
Can you
I didn't even look
believe
at the time, man. I didn't look at this. Y'all ain't said nothing. Y'all didn't say cat. Y'all ain't say move. Y'all ain't say blue.
They did not
nobody
move.
said nothing. I'm just going, and I didn't even know it. Yes.
Oh, man.
So, Big B, tell everybody how they can help us continue to keep this family tree going.
I
How
will
about that?
I will certainly do that, guys. As a matter of fact, also, I've already put in the chat you want to make. If you got a copy of tonight's chat, make sure you send that to meccavideo@gmail.com. That's for a copy of tonight's chat. That's meccavideo. That's MECCAVIDEO @gmail.com. Now, you want to make sure you continue to support through donations. You can send that. Matter of fact, I've got that in the chat too. You can send it through either through Dr. Paul's Cash App at $ Dr. Paul Hop, or through Zelle to meccavideo@comcast.net, or actually, Dr. Paul, I even set up a P.O. box now. You can send it directly to me. And that's P.O. Box 191, Mullica Hill, New Jersey, 08062. Okay, so that's we kind of cover all bases. Folk want to know, I don't have the app. I don't have Zelle. Guys, we covered all the bases now. So that way you can help everybody out and make sure that as you bring people here each and every week, every Wednesday, we can, guess what, bring them all to the tree, invite them to hug a tree. So we can all do what? Be back and be healthy as we can possibly be each and every week going forward. Okay, so I just want to let you know that. And there we are, Dr. Paul. He went out to the bathroom. No, he didn't. He's back there somewhere. Dr. Paul, you around?
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, he went to the bathroom, guys.
I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't go to the bathroom.
No, I'm just kidding.
I went and got a little friend of mine. I got a new friend.
Oh, yeah, new friend.
I got my new friend. I want y'all to say hello to Indy.
How about that, y'all?
What's up, Indy? Hey, what's up, family?
Beautiful.
That's a golden retriever.
Indy is my little Labrador with Tweever. And
Labrador.
He's a Labrador, and he's short for Indiana. We short for Indiana. He's a little Indiana Jones. Yep. And he's a handful already, but he is the calmest dog that you will ever see. He is always just this. He's just.
Dr. Paul, you're missing your son. That's what happens when you go off.
No, he's right here. Here's Jared right here. Jared's right here. Slide in here, Jared. Slide in here with that afro.
Oh, I see his hair.
Yeah. So I wanted y'all to meet Indy. You'll probably see him probably starring in some of these episodes somewhere.
Yes, with a shungite stone on his neck.
Yes.
So sweet.
All right. So I want to thank you all for chiming in. It has truly been a pleasure. And I would say to everyone, thank you for the questions. I think everyone.
Yes.
Did you learn anything tonight, y'all? Did you learn anything?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think
Always.
what's interesting is that one conversation leads to another conversation.
Indeed.
It just shows you how things are really lined up. But we have to stay on point. So doing what you're doing, stay on point. You know, eat the foods that you want. You have life, begin life. Only life.
Yes, sir.
You know, even Indy over here, he's getting his green drink on his dog food. He's like,
wow.
Hey, that's right. Hey.
And he might want that moringa tree also.
All right, guys, that's what it's all about.
I want to thank you all. God bless y'all. May God keep y'all. And we'll see you next week on the Family Tree. Let's get Big B a hand over there. Get Big B a hand over there.
Those requests in so we can get the information out to you.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. God bless y'all. And we'll see you. And remember, if you're breathing,
you got a shot.
You got a shot.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. All right.
This was awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was good.
Hey,
good night. Oh, I can say good night, hair. I can see it on the sidelines. I can see all I see is Jared's hair
popping in and out.
That's my man. See you, Andy. Hey, family. Have a great evening. We'll see you next week. We don't see you Saturday with Dr. Paul's health program on Saturday or the Green Hour on Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m.
Like
WRD Radio
96.1,
900 AM. Black Talk Media in Philadelphia.
Hey,
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Hey.
That's what's up, y'all.
Good night, Indy. Good night, Indy. Because he going to bed. I woke him up. He's like, hey, what you doing, man?
I know he wants to hurt you.
Get on TV. There we go.
Andy said, get on my phone, Dr. Big.
He said, y'all messing with my sleep time. All right.
Andy says, time to go.
This is his favorite spot right here. This is his favorite spot right here. He right here.
He knows.
He gone. 1 minute. He gonna be gone.
$300. Get the scanner, it goes down your whole body. He can tell you anything wrong.
Yes.
That's what's up.
All right, guys. Take care. God bless y'all, and we shall see you next week on the Family Tree. All right. God bless y'all.
God bless, man.
All right.
Peace out.